Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the sunny Imola. Yes, we're hoping it's sunny. Anyway, it is the GT Challenge Season 3 opener. I am Lee D-Man Smith, and joining me is Aidan Millward once again for this, what we expect to be a cracking Season 3. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing just great. It's exciting to be back at Imola. It's probably I think it's my third Imola race in as many weeks, so I shouldn't have my way around this place right now, or by now I should say, but brand new season, brand new broadcast team for GT Challenge Season 3. Got some fancy new graphics, so all looking good, and hopefully we'll have some cracking racing over the course of the next several weeks.
Yeah, we had some fantastic races. Obviously, we had the BMW series on here last week, along with the GT Pro, so I think everybody knows Imola. It's a nice old-fashioned track that's been around forever and a day, but we do have some new races. And of course, as with GT Challenge Season 3, powered by Traction, gonna make sure I get that in there. This is the round of 1 of 6, of course, and if you're unaware as to how this all works out, it is obviously the 25-minute sprint race, followed by the 45-minute main race. It is dry weather, as you can see. It is going to be a nice sunny day here in Imola, and 30 drivers will be taking part. Those 30 drivers, of course, there will be a promotional relegation of the bottom 5 after 2 races are done. I've been reliably informed by the man himself. Jimmy has told us exactly how it's going to work out. And as you can see, in terms of schedule-wise, it will be following on along with the GT Pro schedule and the BMW schedule. So we're going to be going through Imola, into Spa, Silverstone, Nürburgring, with no chicane, Sebring, and Indianapolis. Aidan, we have some cracking tracks this season once again, don't we?
Oh yeah, we've got Spa, which is GT3 at Spa. It's almost a given for any racing game, any racing sim on the market. Silverstone, so our home race. Nürburgring, which I guess is technically your home race as well, seeing as you straddle the UK
claim
and
both,
Germany.
right?
Yeah, you just want that passport, don't you? And it's Sebring. So we're going to have some spine-shattering laps around there on the 10th of May, and then finish it off at Indianapolis, which is a track that's sort of got a bit of a love-hate relationship, particularly with that really fast chicane on the back stretch. But Imola today, again, fast track, just hammering the inside curves at some of these corners. It's also a very fast track. Going to see some pretty good moves into turn 1, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, I did a show for Overtake last year, and they asked me my favourite circuit, and I said Silverstone then, because obviously it's a Grand Prix track that I've been to many years with my dad when I was younger, and and I'm an old man, like I'm an old man now, so I'm talking like for many decades. I was old enough to be there at Brands Hatch when the Formula 1 was still there. So yeah, and I got so many quizzical looks, because obviously it's a whole German crew. They're looking at me like, Silverstone, really? That's your favourite track? But yes, it is my favourite track, so looking forward to going to that. It will be the GP later on, but let's talk about the 30 drivers we have today, because we do have a lot of returning names, but there's a couple of new names in there as well.
Yeah, there's some new names. I'm just trying to find my entry list. I'm trying to balance several screens at the same time, but I can just look it up on my phone, can't I? But it's we've got a bit returning drivers such as Matt Richards. Dennis Lind is back after taking Season 2 out. He had a horrid time in GT Pro, which is the top split racing that we have here, and he's back. He's giving it another crack, hopefully in a car that's not woefully off the pace. But we've also got Luis Philippe Capamajan for HM Engineering. He's been around the block a few times in rFactor 2. We've got Andika Ramamulana. He did a few rounds in BMW for the first season of that. Davin Rocek for Burst Esports. Sido Vaya, who was relegated from GT Pro last season. Jake de Stout for Citro's Nita Velox. So Nita Velox have got a couple of drivers in this one. Martin Dillon for Jean Lazy Esports. And down at the bottom of the entry list is Roman Yakubovic for Blackhawk, and Philip Drost for NeedRacing.com. So we've got some names that a lot of people in chat will recognise, and some new ones. So just going to throw things up a little bit, and as Rory says, Dennis Lind is back, but he's actually over here in the UK right now for British GT, so he's not actually
Actually not.
unless he's managed to sort of say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to my bubble to do stuff," but yeah, so he's not actually going to be in this one.
Such is life as a track driver. Really, that's the real downside. You know, I did do a show with Lando Norris just last week, actually, before, and it was literally the few days before he was due to fly on the Monday to obviously go over to the testing. So yeah, it's a life that they have. You know, they can squeeze in these sims and have fun, and then sure enough, there they are. They're back at it on the track and in real life. I love the fact that it does transcend so easily between them. But as you can see, qualifying very much underway here. Looks like Christian Mitchell just putting himself in his first lap. Doesn't seem to have any other time so far, but I tell you what, we said Imola was sunny. That don't look that sunny. That's not looking so sunny there. I've got to be honest. I'm seeing clouds.
I'll take that as sunny, given where I live. But it's actually the warm-up. We had a couple of.
This is from earlier.
A little bit of technical gremlins creeping through, just trying to get the servers up and running and get the stream looking nice and pretty for everybody. So we're actually seeing the final sort of 3.5 minutes of warm-up, and then straight into the 15-minute sprint race. But we'll have like a big fancy graphic and it'll tell you, who's where on the grid and stuff like that.
Well, at least warm-up is all good. So I tell you, it still looks a bit dark for me. I was led to believe it was sunny. It even said it was sunny. You know, computers these days, they're not too sure. Now it's looking a little brighter now. It's looking a little brighter there, so that's okay. So going to be interested to see what everybody is running around in. Obviously, it's going to differ somewhat to what we saw in the GT Pro. Obviously, we had a draft show for the GT Pro, so everybody was in his weighted cars. Not the case for the GT Challenge. Simply pick the car they like. Expecting to see actually a lot of Bentleys. The Bentley's apparently been performing very well on this current BOP. I do see an Audi in there. It looks like he just went off the track. But I'm expecting to see quite a lot of Bentleys this time around.
Yeah, there's a couple of Ferraris. One of them's here, Marcel Cinchik. I'm just going to say Cinchik and worry about the pronunciation later. I'll probably get absolutely obliterated in chat for that. But he's driving the 650. Oh, so not a Ferrari, it's a 650. I need to learn how to see. So that car is currently third in the warm-up, but it's warm-up. They're just trying to get used to full fuel, and we're going to see a lot more of that as well. Just absolutely yeeting over those sausage curbs at Variante Alta to try and maximise the run down the straight towards the ravazzas down the end of the lap. You can see the lights are on as well, actually casting a bit of light on the track. So that's going to help with things. And Ian Velton's for Scuderia Leone just getting out of people's way, I think, and trying to go back to his day without any interruption.
Just having a nice lazy day. Nice lazy one. Yeah, so they should be ready to go. So we did miss qualifying, so hopefully we'll get that qualification confirmations on your screen shortly. Obviously, once the warm-up is over and everybody's ready to set themselves up. As we mentioned, 30 drivers throughout. Obviously, the real challenge of the GT Challenge Season 3 is to get not only the win, to get promoted up to that GT Pro and get themselves involved with, I think it's $40,000 in it this time around. It's stepping up. The prize money keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah, that's because thanks to Traction, I believe they're part of the Motorsport Games group. So the Motorsport Games getting on board with rFactor 2 recently. Big news for that going throughout the interwebs. So hopefully the relationship will build and build and build and build, and hopefully we can have some top level esports in rFactor 2 within the next 2 or 3 years, as Matt Richards brings his McLaren into the pits. I kind of had a feeling he would have gone for that car as Chris Shepherd overshoots the exit of Acqua Minerale there. That's going to be a big point of track limits. If you go off there, you're going to pick up a track cut. And you can see that there's one Acco in a Bentley, and then the one in front of it is driving a McLaren.
I like the fact that somebody's trying to correct you how to say Zancho, considering you're part of the organisation. I love that.
That's just Devin being Devin. He's actually a Zancho member now, so that's yeah. I'm not wearing my shirt. I'm not going to have any bias.
No, you're not right. Okay. Not like Rene, who immediately I think we were like 3 minutes into the pro season, and Butler Power Motorsport was getting mentioned. I did love that. I like the fact he was trying to do it from a third party though. He was trying to be non.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard work.
Nico Barkley, of course, in the challenge this time around, had a relatively successful season, but obviously finds himself back down here. Didn't quite work out in the promotion relegation stage, so he will be back in the challenge once again for another season, along with a couple of other names that obviously were in and around there for the time being. So hopefully we'll get the sprint race underway in a few minutes. Okay, Aiden, this is the start of the season. You know these guys. You've been around the GT Challenge all 3 seasons. You've obviously done the Pro as well this season. So who are you looking at to take the overall? Actually, I'll get back to that. I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about it because we can go through obviously what the grid's looking like right now. So Martono, we saw him already in the Bentley in first place. That went so quick. I missed second, third, and fourth. Matt Richards down in 5th place. Martin Doolan up into 6th place. Nice work from him. Chris Shepherd, we did see him going off the track, but he got 7th overall. Diogo Silva in 8th as well. Mitchell in 9th. David Mroczek. I threw myself in there. Mroczek. From Burst Esports, by the way. Great organisation. And Yuri Toman actually down in 13th. I thought he'd be a little bit higher today. Got himself 2nd place in the BMW Series last week. David Siret down in 15th place. Luis Felipe, wow, down in 17th. I thought he would be higher than that. Kapamagin, who had a great season last year. Daniel Kiss also in 20th. Obviously also did very well. Cito Vio, wow, down into 21st
that's good
place.
For him.
Hey, I expected better than that. Same with Nico Barkley, I would say. This maybe trying to get used to the BOP. We're not in the Callaways this year, which a lot of people were running in the last season, of course. But right, okay, I'm going to put you on the spot, Aiden.
Okay.
You've seen the grid. You've seen how it's looking like. Let's talk about season overall. Who are you expecting to come out champion this year? Season.
Champion, I'm not going to... I don't think I can call that one just yet, but I'd expect Matt Richards to be up the top end. He missed out on promotion to Pro in the promotion playoff at the end of last season, but he's come back with renewed vigour, as they say, and you think he'd probably have a score to settle this season. But Presley Martono, a driver I've not seen a lot of. I think this might be the first time I've ever seen him on track, and straight away he's put that Bentley on pole for the sprint race, so he might be a dark horse in this.
Well, we can see that Mulana. We were going with Mulana. Gotta get his pronunciation right. I've never been great with pronunciations. I always have to take a couple of times to learn them. When I'm literally thrown at the deep end, it's going to take a little bit of learning. But he gets himself 2nd on the grid. Let's see how that works out. Chintik down in 4th as well. Had a fantastic performance picking up the win in the BMW Series just on Monday. Very active in the scene. As you say, Matt Richards, the man you're looking at, down in 5th place. Of course, you're looking at him because he's in the Zan show. So who else would you be looking at? As you can see, it is obviously a warm-up lap straight into the start. Not like we do in the BMW. The BMW's straight from the start grid. And obviously, it's all going to be on Martono. Exactly when and where he wants to get things started in the final corner.
Yeah, so they're going around on the pit lane speed limiter for, if you don't know the rules of this, and then at a certain point on the start-finish straight, the leader can deactivate the limiter, and once he's done that, he has to go. He can't do like what happened at Mugello in Formula 1, where they sped up, slowed down. It's to avoid, what happened in that race happening on the start-finish line, taking about 7 cars out before the race even begins. So, Presley Martono, he's come through the final of the 2 Ravazzas, and he's gone already.
Away we go. Got everybody completely caught out, and that's going to draw them out, actually, as we come around the corner. And immediately we see them starting to single file, absolutely catching everybody off guard. We are going to be double abreast as we come down into the first chicane, the Tamburello. See who can work it out. It's going to look like a very good start from Presley Martono. I think it was just caught everybody off guard, expecting him maybe to back them up. We saw it in the Pro. Obviously, a lot of people were being backed up just before the start-finish line, and away they went. But he caught quite a few off guard in certainly the top 5. It does mean we have a couple of places. I did see someone going off at the back. Hopefully, we'll try and catch a drift of who that was, because I saw him tumbling down the places.
Yeah, those 2 Bentleys have shot off straight away, and Roman Bolana and Martono, as the yellow comes out in Sector 1, they've got 1.5 seconds over Shinchik already, which is phenomenal going. That Bentley's definitely got some power under that bonnet.
Well, Shinsik's obviously moved up a spot. He started out in 4th place, I believe, so he's got ahead of Elton's already. Richards and Durland in the Bentley also looking to try and make way. So I did hear things. I heard about this. Cameron was telling me the other day in the BMWs, telling me how good the Bentleys were. They've been doing a lot of testing throughout and saying the Bentleys, obviously we were talking about how they could carry weight through the GT Pro. No weight here. This is simply flat out racing. And at the moment it's looking very, very good for these front two. But now we see Shinzik starting to close that gap a touch here as he chases down the very easy to see orange car. Let's have a quick look at the replay. This is further down the field as we were talking about. I saw a car going off. Didn't exactly catch who it was, but that was a collecting.
Oh,
well,
ouch.
There's a couple collected there.
Yeah.
That was actually Prezzi's teammate.
Yeah, it was. It's Donat Prodan, who had quite a moment at Spa at the end of the last season, but you can see now that it looks like those two Bentleys had the edge at the start because they bolted so early and caught everybody else off guard. But Chinchik slowly catching up. He's trying to drag Veltons and Richards with him. But Dylan, a driver you'd expect to see at the top end for John Lacy Esports, because of the name John Lacy Esports and how many great drivers they've got in that stable. He's going to try and get up there, but things happening down at the back. You see Fernandez has managed to get a position off August Lana, but David Saraceno via right down the back, well off the pace at the minute.
Yeah, Via started, 21st, wasn't he? So only moved up a couple of places, maybe through to that accident. We saw a couple of people getting collected further down the field, but here towards the top 10, of course, don't forget, it is a sprint race. We're looking at the top 10 shootout that will obviously then switch around, and the top 10 will be starting out in pole position from 10th place. So obviously the car we're looking at right now on your screen, Rocek looking certainly for that spot from Burst Esports, but back towards the front, Rama taking a bit of airtime there, having a little bite at Martono, but not quite having managed to catch through. But as you say, those Bentleys, they are still keeping everybody in check. They gained that second right from the start, and they've held on to that lead.
Yeah, and they'll be dumped to 10th and 9th respectively at the start of the next race, assuming everything stays as it is, because it's reverse grid for the top 10 in the feature race, so they'll have 45 minutes to try and claw their way back through, and I wouldn't put it past them at this point, because imagine to keep that gap still around 1.5 seconds to Chinchik in third.
Yeah, further down, just looking, obviously Yuri Toman's going to be the man that's trying to challenge Rocek for that 10th place. Philip Dreiss up behind him as well, sneaking there, looking down to 10th place, down to 14th here. Roman in the challenge, trying to put a move on. Vlad Tokarev, I'm going to go with, just up behind him at the moment. You can see that's Roman's car, I believe, unless the paintwork's a bit different. No, that is Vlad behind him from the bumper. Looking pretty tight down there at the moment. And we were talking about how the leaders have stretched the lead, but further down the field, it is still pretty bunched up. You've seen a couple of the Bentleys in there. I love to see this, how it's differed this season, Aidan. We're not sitting there staring at 23 Callaways and a couple of extras.
Well, last season we saw how good the Ferrari was in the longer races, so I want to see if there's any cars here without the weight that will still be able to come back in the latter stages of the second race. But these two Bentleys, off we go. That's the replay at the start, so they managed to just get the jump on everybody. So good reactions from Mulana as we enter the final 10 minutes of the first race, and there's the queue behind them trying to figure out what the hell happened when they disengaged their limiters. I love the fact that Martono, he edged it and he waited for Mulana just to back off, because he knew he'd had to back off to get back in that second place, and the second he did it, the speed of the reaction to just floor it and get away with it. But here we are back at the front. The lead, as you can see, just 0.2 behind him, getting a good drift here. Shinchik's also gained a bit of ground, 0.7 now behind him. He was 1.4 adrift at one point, so gained a lot of traction throughout there. But let's see how they are down the big long straights as they dive through Tamarillo, and you can see Martono under pressure here from Mulana. Yeah, they've got to be careful as well. Those yellow sausage curbs you can see on the inside, they can really upset the car, and some cars can handle those bumps a bit better than others. It's like they just absolutely hammer them going to Villeneuve. A little bit of Emilia Romagna drift from Mulana coming out of Villeneuve up towards Tosa now. Try and get the power down on the exit. Let the traction control do some of the work, but not too much of the work. You don't want to bog down. It's uphill up towards Piratella, which is a a fast-ish left-hander, which is blind, and you can just throw the car in. It's so much fun taking an open wheel around here, downhill towards Acqua Minerale, possibly the hardest corner on the track, because you've got to throw it in, but then still somehow get the car pulled up for the second part, which is so tight. And Chinchik is now going to be putting so much pressure on the back of Milano as they come towards Variante Alta here.
Yeah, it seems where the McLarens definitely seem to pay off through the corners. Certainly seeming to gain a bit of ground. Further down, back down the field here. Paul Lane, we saw him in the BMW Challenge. Actually doing pretty well in that one, but he's way down in 27th place here. Don't think he got the memo about the Callaways, unfortunately, but everybody else certainly has. A little gentle hello there on the backside of Fernandez, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. Going to have a little look down the inside. Not a space there, that's for sure. Is he going to try and get the undercut? He's put his nose in, and that was always going to go wrong.
If gap car. So he's... Ilias Fernandez is going to be thinking, what just happened here? Is Martin Derland's going to have a sniff at Matt Richards here? That Bentley seems to have found how to get around the track, but Matt Richards taking the 720, which is what he used in Season 1. So he's very, very comfortable with that car. But I don't know why Martin Derland's flashing Matt Richards there. Whether that was that was more of a sorry flash rather than a what are you doing flash, because it was just the one. But there's one of the Nitavax cars goes a bit wide on the exit of Villeneuve, and that's going to upset the apple cart going into Tosa.
Maybe it's just a Frenchman's maybe expect to see the indicator going on in a minute, just like I'm coming past. It's going to happen. We'll see. Martin's certainly putting the pressure on to Matt Richards here, trying to get that Bentley to work in his favour. It's looking certainly hot on the pace at the moment. Obviously raced in the Pro Series in Season 1 and 2, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to think whether he was in the Bentley in the first season. I don't think he was. I think Dennis Lynn was the only one in the Bentley in the first season, as far as I can remember.
But the Bentley went so well at Imola in Season 1, so it might be a track-specific thing we'll have to watch for the rest of the season, because, as you said just at the start of the race, that these cars aren't carrying any weight like the cars in GT Pro. They can pick whatever they want. They're running no weight. They're free to do whatever they want. But you put money on Martin Dillon being able to get past Matt Richards coming up to Tamburello, see what the slipstream is like. Oh, that's a scary sight in the mirror.
It's a big whole car right on your rear, drafting past him, and it should look pretty good, as he will just slip up the inside, and that will be 5th place for Martin Dillon. A really nice little move. Kept it well, kept it clean.
Yeah, that's what we want to see. His teammate, I think it was either Casper Stolzer or Jordis Viers in GT Pro had an off there in the second race at Imola, but Martin Dillon's made that one work pretty well. But Matt Richards was thinking, I want to get past that guy, and he's starting to come under pressure from that's one of the...
Diogo Silva behind him, I think. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Sexy Ruben shots at the start. So Matt Richards managed to get past Dillon and managed to hold him off at the start here. That's a beautiful shot.
Oh, that's where we saw him getting the kick out. You see the orange teammate of Martono. We saw his car getting a bit squirrely, so that was probably the build-up to where it went off and caused problems. Matt Richards, as you can see, has lost position as well. Martin Dillon went down, but Diogo Silva very much on him. God, those Bentleys don't have to take that curb hard.
Yeah. Well, they've got quite a long wheelbase, so they're a little bit more stable over the curves, but it's like full Tony Hawk's Pro Skater going across those curves at Variante Alta. They seem to be able to take it quite well, but whatever pressure Martono's been put under, he's not giving in.
Yeah, very much under pressure. Chinchik really wants to get involved in this, hoping that possibly the front two will make a mistake, sitting there waiting in the wings in his McLaren to see if anything can happen. Velton's very much not a part of this anymore. He's been left stranded 2 seconds adrift behind them. Martin Dillon, by the way, has made some nice time ahead of Matt Richards since passing him. He's got himself nearly a second ahead already, so looking like he was held up a little bit by Matt Richards perhaps, and it's going to try and gain ground onto Velton's. Keep your eyes on that. Only 4 minutes remaining, of course, in this first sprint race, and at the moment Martono looking very good from pole to leader. Will anybody be able to pull a challenge in the final 4 minutes, Aidan?
Well, it's like, do you want to win, or do you want to just bag the points and then have the better position in race 2, because that's what will happen. Is Milano, if it stays like this, will have 9th position, whereas Martona will have 10th position because of the reverse grid. So I wouldn't want to go in too leery at the start of the race. You've got the rest of the season to try and make it back. So try and get the points and then figure it all out for the second race. But still defend from Chinchik behind.
I wonder whether Yuri Toman's going to try and make a move as well on Mrocek. We saw him pretty close to him early on. You can see he's gained 2 places as well, but it's still this front 3 staying pretty close to one another. Chinchik certainly having another look at Mulana there to see whether he can get through this down the field. As I say, talking about Yuri Toman in the Varga, Sim racing right on the back, and Rocek with 3 minutes to go. I expect to see him make a move here because he knows that 10th place, that will be pole position in the main race, and Yuri Toman can certainly do something with that.
Yeah, the rest of the Burst team has taken Audis, I believe, so Devin Rocek's sort of the odd one out in that team, so he's having to work on that by himself, as now Diogo Silva wants a piece of Matt Richards, so taking on that McLaren in the Audi, is now Martin Dillon's having to go Iron Veltins. There's a bit of contact. This is what happened to one of the Jean Lazy Esports cars last time, as he overshot the corner. Now he's just made it. But Iron Veltins isn't going to be very happy that there's a bit of contact there, so he's going to try and come back.
Well, I mean, we saw him making up the ground. I could see in the timings, once he got past Richards, how quick he was going. But look at this. Mrocek getting a little peek down the inside. Yuri Toman really wants to get past him. 2 minutes remaining here, so they've got another lap to go. But he is all over the back end at the moment, trying to force David Mrocek to try and make an error. Tries to squeeze it around the outside, see if he can get the undercut. This is the view from Philip Dries, just behind them all, watching it all play out. Yuri Toman needs to just get himself as close as he can and have another go in a moment. But you can see he's very much all over that Bentley.
Oh, he's not going to try and go around the outside into Aqua Minerale, is he? No, he's just going to try and hold it in behind. Try and put Mrocek under some pressure here. Has he got enough of a run coming out of Aqua Minerale to try and go up the inside of Variant Alton? No, that's not going to happen. So he's probably starting to get a little bit frustrated. But Yuri Toman, a very good drive. Oh, that's a big move over the curbs here. Might have got the better exit speed. And David Mrocek has got to be careful not to block too much. There was Jimmy Allison having a look at that after the race. But now Toman trying to go around the outside of the first revat. So can he make that stick?
Oh, he may well get work.
He's in the dirt.
He's pushed out onto the dirt. Yeah, that's not going to work out, but he's still all over him. Still a minute to go. I don't know exactly. I think we're going to get another lap out of this, judging by the position. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we will. The leader's almost certainly over the line right now. So Yuri Toman really wanting to make this work. This is a full-on race for first place.
This is going to be outside of Tamburello here.
The pole position. Toman's going to try and send it. He's down, not quite alongside, not going to be able to work out this time. He's going to stick to him as close as he can. Goes for the undercut. That was looking a cheeky little move. Is it going to be able to work? Has he got the acceleration as he gets forced once again onto the dirt?
Oh, he's looking at every which way to get around this Bentley, but the Bentley being the big boy that it is. But
look behind him.
Yeah.
Dries is all over him. That's Philip Dries coming up behind. He wants a piece of this now, as obviously the defensive work from Rocek trying to keep him at bay at the moment, and he's looking at a real potential chance to move up. Philip Dries was actually right behind Yuri Toman in the BMW just last week as well, so he's very much well aware of this position and knows he's certainly got the abilities to get in there, as we have a beautiful view to see whether Yuri Toman in his last lap can make this move stick.
He's going to have one more opportunity. It's either going to be, well, I say he's got one more opportunity. I'm doing Murrayisms in tribute with not even realising it, but yeah, I think that's him done now. That's it, that mistake here.
Won't be able to work it. Does seem that in the end it will be, unfortunately for him, 11th place. Hello. Is he going to try and make it work? No, that's not how you do it, Yuri. That is not
that's also
the correct procedure, and he's gone back into the middle of the track, and that has caused absolute chaos further down the field as well, because that Bentley bounced off the boards. But it will be Presley Martono over the line. He will take the checkered flag. A great sprint race for him. Rama Mulana in second place, Chinchik in third, Martin Dulin making some great moves up into fourth place, Veltons in fifth, Richards in sixth, Silva couldn't quite pass him, he sticks in seventh place, Shepard in eighth, and he didn't quite catch out who was ninth. But this is going to be the replay of Yuri Toman just absolutely walloping that back end and sending him into a perfect, you know what, if he's going for a police job, I think, you know what, he's got it right there. But like that's not how you race.
The LAPD will be really proud of that, but I don't know, I might want to see that again, because was that intentional or not? Because it looked like Marocek was staying where he was, but I don't know, we'll have to have another look at that one. But Presley Martona, what a masterclass over the last 15 minutes or so. He's got a debut win with Romain Moulin, and those Bentleys looking really, really strong at the start of this season, with McLaren's sort of in there as well. So looks like those are the two cars to have. Matt Richards finishes 6th at the end of that, behind Ian Beltons and Martin Dill and Thiago Silva in 7th there. So here's a replay. So this is Philip Drace's view. And it looks like Toman's come back onto the concrete and just kept his foot in it instead of slotting in behind. So Jimmy's going to have fun looking at that one, I think.
Yes, not too sure how that's going to work out, but yeah, Drace unfortunately will be in 11th place. Obviously, would have been 12th if that had not have happened. Further down the field, Cito Vaya didn't really make up too much ground in 19th place. David Sierra did, because they were neck and neck with one another, so he managed to work himself to 16th. Of course, we don't know how much this was affected by the fact that obviously the car was in the middle of the track. It bounced off the barrier, straight into the middle of the track. I saw, certainly from the point of view from behind, you could see a lot of people having to swerve left and right. So I don't know how that may even affected further down the field. It could have been fairly chaotic on the final lap.
Well, it might have been. Marocek might get called in for failure to lock brakes. It's a rule that when you're out of control, you have to slam on the brakes, and he bounced quite obviously into the middle of the track. But looking at the back end of the field, Boya Milan out of the race, Donat Prodan out of the race, Andrea Terzi for Wave Freeman Esports probably should have been a bit higher up, as should Nico Barkley, to be honest. But I think once BOP's been applied, which it might be at the end of this round, because that can happen now, instead of doing it every 2 rounds, we might see this field get a bit bunched up. But Ivan Avinoa, a bit anonymous in this race. He's a new driver for this season, down in 24th. I think that's the only Porsche on the grid, but Boya Milan and Donut Prodan not having a great start, but still they can make it back up in the 45-minute feature race coming right up. Exactly.
So that was the sprint race. We're going to be going into the next longer 45-minute main race. As you mentioned, the front 10 will flip around. So if you finished in first place, obviously where Presley did, he will be starting in 10th place and vice versa. I would say, Yuri Toman will be on pole position, but I'm just going to hold reserve to see exactly what happens. He may well be in that pole position, or he may not.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if Jimmy Allison applies a penalty in between the 2 rounds, and if he does, I think that will set quite the precedent.
But a great first sprint race. That's what we like to see in the GT Challenge. I mean, we do expect contact. That's some contact is fine. There's no doubt about it. So I'm not completely against contact. We saw a couple of nudges here and there, and that's certainly fine. Sometimes when cars are traveling at such speeds, basically following the draft of each other, then it's inevitable that there will be a little bit of contact. So I'm not completely against that. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes it just goes a little too far. We'll see exactly how it works, and of course, being that we are not in a real life car and we are on the internet, there are net codes and pings affected in there, so sometimes you just don't really know, right?
Yeah, and Jimmy's just messaged me saying he's not going to penalise anybody in between the races, so whatever Jimmy does is down to Jimmy. It's he's the Lord Admiral of the rFactor 2 esports side, so he has a very difficult job, but he knows what he's doing.
No doubt about it. Yeah, so it does mean, of course, that Yuri Tomo will be starting on the pole position. I'm just trying to remember who was in 9th place to see who was flipping. I think I've got most of them ahead, but from like 7th down, but I missed the 8th and 9th place positions. We'll get it on your screen in just a few moments anyway, but as you can see, we are in the first round, 1 of 6. That was the sprint race. We're moving on to the 45-minute main race now. It is still going to be dry weather, no rain involved today. And, of course, the track is Imola. You know it, you love it. We've been here many times. And, of course, the GT Challenge Season 3 is powered by Traction.
Yeah, this is being simulcasted between the rFactor 2 Twitch page and Traxon's YouTube page. So go and follow them, or give them a subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff, all the standard YouTube stuff. And
if we had you on the camera, Aiden, you'd be pinging those buttons left and right, You'd be pointing to all those buttons. I know you would be.
I've got one hand holding onto my push to talk. I've got one hand trying to alt tab through all the windows I've got. This job is quite difficult. It's I should probably live stream this.
Need more screens.
Yeah, Marcel, can I have a screen?
Yeah, all right. Send one over. I need a third and a fourth. I've got my lights on, actually. Why have I got my Elgato lights on? I don't need those lights on. I'm gonna pop them off.
I've had the grid sent to me as well through Jimmy. So Yuri Toman will take pole. Christian Mikel will be second. Then Chris Shepherd, Diogo Silva, Matt Richards will stay where he is because he was in fifth. Ian Velton's in sixth. Then Dealand, Chinchik, Mulana, Martono for the feature race. So we'll see how good that Bentley is over 45 minutes if its tyres hold up. You never know what other cars, those Audis, might be better over a long run.
Yeah, and let's not forget about the McLarens as well. That was certainly looking very good. Shinchik was absolutely all over them as well in that McLaren. So we know the McLaren certainly got it about. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it handles. Obviously, we can't take too much knowledge from what we saw last week with the GT Pro because, the weight disadvantages here, there, and everywhere. There was varying degrees of factors. So obviously we can take it from the 45 minutes. But here's the Porsche of Ivan out on the warm-up. Is he the only Porsche?
I think he is the only Porsche, yeah.
I think he might be the only Porsche in the grid. I didn't see, certainly no AMGs, as expected. No Aston Martins, as expected. No Radicals.
No Radicals.
We're not going to go down that route.
I think they saw what Han and R8G guys were going through and just like, no, not even.
Is it Risto that's the other one?
I think it is Risto, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Risto thinks that the Audis might be better overall.
Is this the 2018 or 2019?
Oh, actually, no, Risto's correct in my English, ignore me. Sorry, what were you saying?
I just wondered. I just remember the 2018 Audi was picked first, so a lot of people were sort of betting on that as opposed to the 2019 version.
Ooh, how do you tell the difference?
I don't know. Like where the bumper differs because it's only going to be a tiny little bit of bodywork difference, right? There's not a lot. The Bentleys are quite easy to spot. You can tell the difference between them ones, but the Audi's not quite so sure. I think maybe the back's a little squarer on one of them, whereas I'm not too sure. But at the moment, anyway, we're staring at the Audi right now. I couldn't tell you whether it's 18 or 19. The Audi needs 1% more power. There we go. Is that a minus 1%?
That's a minus, yeah.
So take it down. I mean, it wasn't in the top 3, so I don't know.
There's Daniel Kiss. Or Daniel Kish.
Kish, yes. I learned that one from Cameron the other day in the BMW. So I was like, how do you get Kish? There's no H. But you know what? People's pronunciations around the world, it does differ.
Yeah, it's what I always loved about Daniel Kish is in FSR, the Open Wheel rFactor 2 Championship. He has the logo of the band Kiss on there,
just to really throw you.
It's like those little details. I love it. We've got about 23 seconds remaining in the warm-up before we grid up. As we see Daniel Stopowski throwing his McLaren through Aqua Minerale. So these cars are going to be a lot heavier. Going to be carrying about 3 times as much about 3 times as much fuel on board to last the 45 minutes. If my maths serves me right, I don't know. I barely got through GCSE maths. But, that's it.
I don't know in Polish. I'm assuming Stopkowski is a Polish name. I never know whether in Polish the V is a W and the W is a V, like in German.
Yeah, well, I've seen so many American dramas and so many American movies with where they say like Kowski. But that's just Americans, right?
Yeah, they're going to be ignorant to the world. I was pretty ignorant until I moved to Germany. That they that we call it Volkswagen. It's completely different in German.
Well, you're asking English people to pronounce foreign names. It's not going to happen.
It's like BMW, BMW. And I'm like, what? What cause that, BMW?
All right, so they're gridding up. At least they should be. We should have a
that's what I was waiting, just in the grid. Coming up in a second as Ruben works his magic in the background. I reckon, he's like an octopus, I feel. Like, I've never met Ruben, but I think he's an octopus because he gets replays going, he gets grids, he gets other shots, he gets fancy shots. But as you can see on pole is going to be Yuri Toman. Kristen Mitchell will be in second place, Chris Shepherd in third place, and Diogo Silva down in fourth. Matt Richards in fifth place for the Sancho. Ian Veltens for Scuderia Lyon in the sixth place. Martin Durland for Jean Lacey Esports in seventh. Marcel Sincic in eighth place for Varga Sim Racing. And then we get to Milana and Martono, the 1 and 2 from the sprint race, are going to be down in 9th and 10th. And then we settle back down again. Campomagian made up a lot of ground in the sprint race, finds himself in 13th place now. Vlad Tokarev in 14th, David Serra in 15th, David Kish in 16th. Jake Tustout and Sido Vaya in 17th and 18th. Daniel Stepkowski, we weren't too sure, in 19th. And Andrea Terzi in 20th place as we move further down the field. Nico Barkley didn't really make too much ground up, did he? Down in 21st place. Iles Fernandez in 22nd. Ivan Avanoa in 23rd, and I missed 24th. It does mean, unfortunately, that David Mrosek will be starting from 25th position for the Burst Esports. And, of course, Ardiansi, who we saw going out on the first lap, going to be down in 28th position. And Philip Dreiss in 30th.
How did that happen?
That one I'm not too sure, because I thought he'd be 11th.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed something in there.
Yeah,
maybe he got collected.
Or he had to disconnect and reconnect or something
maybe,
like that.
Yeah.
We'll get the information for that. As that's a lovely shot of the cars going up the hill towards Piratella on their, I'll say, warm-up lap, their formation lap. Let's see what happens here, because we've got a few Audis in that mix. Apparently, I'm silly for thinking that the Audis will be better on the long run, but what do I know? As Yuri Toman has a very controversial pole position here today. Probably think that he'd want to try and avoid all carnage this time round and try and take the win and lead every lap.
Yeah, certainly we saw, obviously, Martono have a cracking start and leave everyone but Rama Milano behind at the start. Mulano. Get his name. Milano. I threw a bit of Martono in with Milano. Gave him a new Italian
I've done that
swing
before.
in there. That's it. Getting in there. But Christian Mitchell certainly going to be keeping Yuri Toman in check. And the Audi, we'll talk about the Audi. We'll see whether it does put the work in. And whether Shepherd, who is actually going to be watching this all play out, and Diogo Silva also in third and fourth position to try and make it work. And don't forget, we saw Martin Durland already putting the moves on Veltens and Richards. He's going to be starting behind them in 7th place, so we'll see whether he can make that Bentley make it work once again from 7th position. Shinchik, he certainly looked hot to trot, no doubt about it, wanted to get past Rama Milano and Presley Martono in 9th and 10th, so Shinchik was certainly keeping up with those Bentleys in the McLaren. We'll see whether he can do it again.
Yeah, I want to see where Toman takes off the limiter, because this pit straight is so long that you can get absolutely murdered before you even get to turn 1 here.
It's hanging him as right to the end. We saw Martono already started by now, but look at this. Yuri Toman waiting for the last second, and you can see Mitchell already desperate. They're going to be 3-4 wide here because he's hanging him up so long. Now he goes. Here we go, and you can see already Shepherd was ready and waiting for that, sitting in the back of him, and he will manage to squeeze himself through, and that actually forces Mitchell down into 4th place because Diogo Silva's also snuck his way through. Look at Durlin further back. He's trying to keep on towards the backside of Veltens. Martona's already got past Shinchik down to 10th from an 8th position start. He's gone tumbling down 3 places. Matt Richards looking to try and squeeze his nose in. No space for him there, so he'll back off the accelerator and let Mitchell carry on.
Yeah, Matt Richards almost got biffed off into the weeds coming up towards the Veltens chicane. He's going to try and hang it around the outside of Toza, that's not going to really work at this point. He's a bit too far back, but Timon's absolutely bolted. He's got Chris Shepherd in that massive Bentley trying to hunt him down and take that lead as Matt Richards looking to the outside of Piratella. Not quite there. Christian Mikel in the Nita Velux Audi. Doing some decent driving here as Richards is probably going to try and take... Oh, he's not. He's gone a bit wide. Cover off Ian Velton's in behind. A strong aggressive start from Richards, so drivers around him will know he exists.
Saw Martone and Shinchik neck and neck as well further down, but looks like Martone's made that one stick now as they all take a giant slice of the curbstone there as they push on through. It is Yuri Toman, though, in the lead with Shepherd right up behind him. That's going to be Avanoa on the Porsche, just going off the track on a bit of an excursion there. Paul Auguste Lan, I believe it is, alongside him at the moment in that Callaway, trying to squeeze on through. The Porsche will have to give up the position there and make sure he doesn't let that Bentley through that's up behind him as well.
That Bentley's his teammate. You don't want to wipe out your own teammate at the end of the first lap. That's Dearland hitting that Bentley. Jeez, look how tiny that McLaren is in comparison. He's trying to hang it around the outside.
It's going to be too tight. Yeah, he can't stick it quite through the chicane. Doesn't quite work out for him. So Dearland having to give up position once again. Ramon Milano did manage to keep hold of the lead, but look at that. Now Martin Dearland under pressure from Ramon Milano behind them, and there is a queue of Bentleys, and I think Dearland's gone a little too wide there. Ramon Milano looking to try and make an advantage of that, going around the outside, and don't forget just behind him Martono, he might try and squeeze up the inside as well. He's going to try and take the draft of Milano through this one. Look at Shinchik all behind you. Oh dear indeed, because this could get very dangerous as he just taps the nose, and that sends Martin Dearland a little askew but it does mean Ramon Milano makes it stick.
Oh, that was almost that almost ended in tears, but everybody's still going. Nobody's ended up in a wall on the first lap. Nice clean racing. The driving standards seem to have cleaned up significantly since the start of the previous season, where it was all a bit carnage filled. But this is Philip Drace. A view from his start. Oh dear.
Oh, good lord.
I take back everything I just said.
So this is actually, we saw this in Formula 1 last season, right? When it was a delayed start, the yellow flag chaos that happened. But this time it was all on Yuri Toman having such a really slow start. The back of the pack thought it was go. Somebody accelerated, so everybody accelerated. And then it just has this whole concourse effect that generally you see a motorway pile-up caused by the exact same thing.
I think everybody had the same idea of trying to shoot for that little gap that was up by the pit wall, but by the time they got there was about another 5 drivers already go for it. So not the best way to start the race, but here's a neat little battle. We've got 2 Audis and a McLaren.
Hello.
Here. Hello.
Veltons has retook that. I'll tell a lie. No, sorry, Ramon Milano. I thought Milano got past Veltons as well. He hadn't. It was Martin Dearland he'd gone past. So I would completely backtrack on exactly what I was about to talk about there. But Matt Richards is certainly putting the pressure on. Diogo Silva did manage to get past Mitchell at the start, and he's still hanging on to that spot. But it does look like he's causing a bit of a tailback behind him at the moment as the rest of the McLarens can try and chase down with the Audi posted in between. Matt Richards trying to get past Mitchell's Audi there. Back down to Mroczek, down in 19th place. Some would argue we should have been starting on pole position, but Sido Vaya is the man he has his sights set on right now.
Yeah, Sido's slowly making his way up as we have a replay here. It's Ian Velton's view of the start. Okay. A little bit of barging, but that's what I can't remember who's in the orange Audi now. I'll learn names eventually, but just getting through there on the outside and making up a couple of positions. And this is where I saw
That's Diogo Silva, right? That's Diogo Silva, yeah.
Silva.
Nearly wiped out Matt Richards there by the looks of it. Certainly making his Audi wide. There he is on your screens. With Christian Mitchell and Matt Richards up behind him right now. They'll be certainly looking to try and make that. But look at that. Martin Dearland having a look at Ramon Milano there to see whether he can get back past him. Having a look in the inside. This is looking great. He's got his nose in. That's going to be contact, as you say, but they managed to pull out of it just in time. But is it going to be enough to keep the back markers behind him out? Veltons has actually gone way down. He's down into 8th place here, so don't know what's happened that's forced Milano and Dillon to go both past him. Sintic as well, and Martono has actually slipped down to 10th place, so something definitely happened while we were looking in that replay.
More contact as pressing Martano gets a little bit of a boff on the exit of Tozer. So everyone's going to single file for Piratella here. There's no point trying to throw the car to the inside there if you're not fully alongside, otherwise he's all going to end up in the gravel. He was sniffing, but nothing, not quite on just yet.
It was that little kick in Aqua Minerale. It's like you say, into 9 and 10, a little kick round. And that's where you see maybe a couple of people sniff whether they can get close enough or not. I did just see someone having a peek. I didn't see whether they managed to actually get past. There was a little bit of contact over the curbs as well there. But there is a bit of a gap forming between Matt Richards and Ramo Milano at the moment. So we'll see whether he can gain ground. Obviously, now that he's managed to get past the field. This is looking back at Ramo to see what that move was. Okay, wow, send it. If a little heavy on the send. I mean, okay, yeah, I did see Jensen Button posting John Button's little comment of like, if you don't go for the gap, are you still racing? That's the question. It's like, I mean, that was kind of going for the gap, but a little tight.
Well, Michi Hoyer tried that. It didn't work. Hello.
Martono just sends it through on Veltons. Was not prepared. He didn't even get to defend on that. I think he was completely surprised.
That was daylight robbery. That is, although Veltons is trying to have a sniff into Villeneuve, but that first part of Villeneuve is not where you want to overtake, just because the entry speed is too high. And
Velton's having a little cut back there, yeah, a little optimistic, and he's actually slowed himself a bit too much there, so Sneak Up's up behind him. And Capomagin, by the way, up to 12th place, so certainly gaining ground on what was his poor qualifying session there. But yeah, Martono down to 9th, but Velton's slipping down to 10th. I think he started out about 5th or 6th there, so he's not having the greatest of main races here at the moment. Certainly when people are doing some daylight robbery moves by him. Martono there might give him a bit of confidence. Yes, he won the sprint race, but hasn't looked quite at his best here in the main race at the moment, so he's got a bit of ground to make up.
The thing is, people who know more than me have been talking about the Audi in chat. They think that the rear tyres are going to burn off, even though I said we never know, they might be decent in the main race, but yeah, I don't know a lot of things, so thanks for the info. But Matt Richards up the back of Christian Mikel. Let's see what the slipstream's like up here. I don't think it's going to be too powerful, but you never know in these cars. No, he's not nowhere near close enough for that.
Yeah, and he looked it. He looked it at the start. Oh, look at this first down. Capomagin. Yeah, Cynic very much on his tailpipe there. Cynic trying to get past Capomagin, but he's certainly worked his way up the field nicely from, I think it was 15th place start for Capomagin this time around in the main race. Has managed to weather the storm this time around as well. You can see who's made the grounds here. Velton certainly going backwards. Nico Barkley making ground, but as well as Rocek, as we would expect. A driver that was looking great for 10th place, up into 19th right now here on Imola. Ramo Milano, though, is the man that's making moves, as a couple of cars do run wide, but Martono has got himself a bit of a gap between him and Veltons now. So he is going to be in the chase. I did notice that Martin Doolan was actually very close to Ramo Milano in terms of time, so I expect he's on his tail. That's a very wide run from Matt Richards.
Yeah, that's not going to help his case trying to catch up with Christian Mikel. As we see the replay graphics, so this is Capomagin doing a bit of bump drafting on.
So this puts them in the move. Oh, he sends it nice.
Does he? Was there contact there, or was he just run a bit wide on the exit? But either way, that's 11th place for Capomagin.
I think he just held the line more than anything. Matt Richards, yes, that little mistake has cost him, hasn't he? Look at that. Suddenly, Milano is looking at him, thinking maybe the next target. Matt Richards under pressure. unforced errors as well, it would seem, and you can see Martin Dillon very much on the bumper of Rama Milana, still having a little look himself to see whether he can make some moves rather than just following through in his coattails. Tristan Michel definitely pulling away, so leaving Matt Richards behind now, and that puts problems for Matt, because obviously he was using the draft, helping him keep that speed, but now he doesn't really have that as much as he did before. It's going to be problems. There's a yellow in sector 1, didn't see what that's caused for. Did see someone sliding down. Stepkowski maybe was the one that's gone off, looks like it, as he's lost about 4 positions there.
Yeah, Fernandez is out. Barclay's in the pits, so probably mega contact has happened at some point between those two. As Milana has a little wobble coming down the hill, but manages to gather it all up for Ackerman. That's it. I keep losing my train of thought here. Trying to watch about 18 different things at the same time is hard work. But,
so this is why I gave up on having the game open and decided to stick with Ruben's feed, because I was talking about things that I was seeing and maybe wasn't quite caught, and then comes up in a replay, so I gave up on that whole thing. But here we go. Elias Fernandez back down in 27th place. Is this going to be maybe the contact that we saw? Looking like it may well be as he turns in. There's the bit of contact we expected. So Fernandez off, and that's why he's got the DNF.
Easy to do there if you're trying to go around the outside. Milana setting his sights on the rear end of Matt Richards' McLaren here. Barclay's been in the pits for over 1 minute and 20 seconds now, so he'll be a lap down as Donut Pro down, also a lap down. Paul August Lana up the sort of tail end of the field, being chased by Stepkowski. Tries to go for a move up the inside of Tamburello here.
That's going to be contact.
No.
You know that's going to be contact, and it's also caused problems further down the field. We've seen it too many times going into that corner. There will be contact, and that was almost a given. So Stepkowski in 24th once again, and a couple of positions lost for a few people there. Looking towards the front, you can see Yuri Toman's got a 2-second lead. Shepard actually a 2-second lead over Silva, so it's certainly ground to be had, I think, by the front markers. And this is what I was talking about, Martin Drillen and Mulana. Drillen once again having another look up that inside. All the time, Chinchik is sat there watching, waiting, looking for an opportunity to try and perhaps get past as they chase down Matt Richards and see where they can gain ground. They certainly are. This pack of the field has definitely gained ground. You can see Martono is a full 3 seconds behind Chinchik. So, Drillen sending it. That's a tight push, but it does work out in his favour. Maybe a little bit too much of a push on Milano, who can't regain ground on Chinchik as well, and Chinchik will also squeeze on through.
Oof.
Oof.
Yeah, we're into touring car levels of overtaking now, as we see Vlad Tokarev and Daniel Kish fighting here, and that's Silo Via in behind. Daniel Kish, a Zancho driver, but in a DX Droids liveried car. So I don't know if there's been an admin error at some point, but Silo Via wanted to get a bit further up the field. The man who was in GT Pro last season, relegated near the back end, so he's definitely.
I think we're going to have a look.
Not where his talent levels would suggest he should be at the minute.
No, this is Nico Barkley way down 29th. I think this is going to be the contact, and we're going to see cars flying left, right, and centre here. No, we're just going to see drift. Nico having a full drift. Oh dear. We were talking about the rears going off on the Audi, but I think 15 minutes in,
off as well.
15 minutes in is not quite what we were counting on.
So back to Sarah. Vlad Tokarev trying to fight with him into Ackerman Morales. Nothing on it, a bit of a wobble. Try not to go too wide on the exit, because that'll be where the cut tracks are picked up. Was that Boy Milan going up the inside to the fast part of Ackerman Morales? That's a brave move if that was the case.
He was in 22nd. I believe he's gained a place. I may be wrong. Terzi behind him at the moment in Waveframe Esports. But Nico certainly not where he'd like to be, I think. Boya Milan is obviously had a great season. I think it was season 1, season 2, where he certainly season 1. It was there was putting in some great performances, but down here in the lower areas of the challenge. Okay, so yes, it is indeed. You can see that's from Terzi's point of view, and tries to make it stick. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, he went to the outside because we caught the last part of that.
Yes,
like
yes,
it was a move, but Stepkovsky into the pit lane. What that's for? Might be damage.
Is that Borja Milan and Philip Dries? Yeah, Dries once again trying to squeeze. I don't know what Dries did to, like you say, maybe he had a disconnect or what, but obviously finished out in 11th place in the sprint race, so didn't exactly see what caused him to be further down the field, sliding out in 30th position, now up to 21st already. Certainly put in a great race in the BMWs, him and his, I believe it's his brother, they were both racing together. They certainly carry the same surname, so I'm just going to assume they are, until somebody corrects me.
I think they're twins, aren't they?
I'm assuming so.
I think that was brought up in BMW.
Oh, Shinchik on the challenge. Mama Milano once again having a little peek. And Shinchik obviously lost position after that move from Martin Dillon. Retook his place back in 6th position, so Rama certainly wants to get back in there. Now, that's got to be a back marker. There's a back marker between them. I was going to say, I'm sure Martono's behind them. There he is in the orange, so there is a back marker actually between them at the moment. They're already out of position. We did talk about a couple of pit stops in there, so it doesn't surprise me. And well, there you go. Stepkovsky just coming out of the pits as well.
Just letting all the traffic go past him and then just joining the back of the queue when there's nobody there. Don't want to get in the way of the front runners here. Dylan within about half a second of Richards as this is Cynic and Jakubovic. Jakubovic we're on board with. Goes to the outside for Tamburello. There's no point trying to swing around the outside there, so try and get the better exit out of Tamburello. See what he can attempt into Villeneuve. Has he got the better exit? Yes, he has. He's now on the inside for the first part. This is going to be a brave move up the inside if he wants to pull it off. He's going for it.
Oh, I think he just backed off. I think he had to back off. He realised it. I mean, we've seen enough cars being collected there already, so I'm kind of glad in a way. But nice clean race in between Roman and Henry, Cynic and Jakovic. As I butcher the surnames continued. It's all right. The two Brits in the cast will continue. You know what? I feel like we should carry on some Murrayisms as well. I feel like we've been lacking in the Murrayisms to represent good old Murray Walker. 97 years age. He had a good innings, bless him, but certainly a commentator that you and I would have grown up with.
Yeah, I mean, Jakubovic's McLaren is unique except for the one behind him, which is exactly the same. And I think we've had about half of the race gone, and there's half of the race left to go. So
I've got to be honest. When I read so many of the Murrayisms, and I remember them as well. I'm old enough to remember them. This is a replay from the start. Actually, this is when it all backs up. We're going to see them all backing up here.
Yeah, they all try to go for the inside of the kink, and it's
that's
good reactions.
That's some quick reactions. Yeah. I mean, so he got caught, remember, in the sprint race as well, so he didn't want to get caught out at the start of the second one. But going back, if you look back at Murrayisms, and guys, you can use Google and look up Murrayisms. It's literally a section on the internet that a lot of people have posted. Honestly, if I was to commentate and do a lot of that stuff, people would just be slating you crazily. But back then, in TV commentary days, you could get away with it, and it was fun. It was fun. Sometimes the mistakes can be fun.
Yeah, we'll just given the current circumstances, we'll just put any mistakes down to tribute to Murray. But David Serra almost chopping the nose of Vlad Tokarev off at on the start-finish straight there. That's why I went oof. But
speaking of oof, I was just about to say Matt Richards has got Martin Drillen right on his back windscreen. Just trying to squeeze around him. He's really gained up the ground here. And he's actually left Sinsic and Rama behind. Look at that. There's a 2-second gap between the two. So Martin Dillon really pushing it in the Bentley right now to make it work. Meanwhile, actually, Matt Richards has gained a fair bit of ground on Christian Michel just ahead of him. So, and himself is putting a challenge onto Diogo Silva. So Martin Dillon really putting some work in here. Potential chance to work his way up to third place if he can get past these in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that Audi was a bit slidey coming out of Variante Alta, so it might be in the start of those Audi's rear tyres starting to go full Mordor. But Martin Dillon, a phenomenally talented driver, very, very fast, so he most probably will get Matt Richards either this lap or the next lap, and then we'll start to challenge Christian Mikel.
Yeah, he may well get him right here. Looking like the speed he's got. Getting the full draft. Pulls out. We'll see whether he can make it stick. It looks like he's just going to sail past him at this rate, but going to have to go through Tamburello, and that's as clean as you like from Martin Dillon. You love to see it. The Bentley looks like
Extra
Matt Richards wants just a little look, but I don't think he's really got the heart in it to try and make that move.
A little bit of banter on the back of the Bentley with the long vehicle sticker that you'll see on goods vehicles all over Europe. This is an interesting little train forming as Henry Sinnick's Audi has a bit of a drift on the exit of Villeneuve, and it's inviting David Serra and Cito Via into that as well. As we have a replay now of Vlad Tokarev at the back of David Serra, I think this is. Yeah, this will be where Serra sort of it's going to be a little bit of a cheeky chop. Oh, that's close.
Back down the field, of course, as you can see, as you mentioned, it is a bit of a queue. McLarens and Audis all stacking up. Seeing out who can be best. And there is a glimpse of a Bentley, I think, further back there as well. As we right on the back of Sinnick. And you can see Cito Via is just at the back of the pack there as well. So really tight little pack there with a, what's that, half a second sort of slowly split between almost every single car within it. There's a little look up the inside. That's going to be sticking a little bit. David Serra getting a little bit of a biff on the left there. Does manage to regain position. I think Tokarev maybe just gave him back there. So made sure he doesn't get any penalties from that. But of course it's put Kish into a great position to try and maybe make a move. And he can squeeze up the inside. Doesn't look like it's going to make it work though.
No, it's the issue with these first two chicanes that they're taken sort of a little bit quicker than you would otherwise expect. He's still carrying too much speed compared to like somewhere like the chicane at, say, Montreal or something like that. This is Daniel Kish having a good view of the biffing and barging between Serra and Tokarev there. So everybody's still on the track.
He looked by his positioning. He really... That? Yeah, it's just saying he looked like a bit of his positioning. Kish was just thinking, okay, these are going to biff each other. I'm going to squeeze up the inside because fully expected him to maybe go a bit wide and slowly pull out and look to try and take advantage of it. But I think positions mainly staying there. Jakovic, Sinnick, Serra, Tokarev, Kish and Cito Via. All very close. Who's just gone wide? Oh, and this is the classic, right? Once you're following, you're so close, you're so focused on that rear car. Once one goes wide, suddenly everybody goes wide. Suddenly losing that racing line because you're so transfixed. And oh my word, I think this is Kish we're following right now, isn't it? On the backside, or maybe Tokarev actually, but he is right alongside him, and you can see Sinnick under pressure from Serra there. Serra may well be able to hold it on the inside here. He will. That's a beautiful move.
Oh, he's almost around.
Oh, he's clipped him.
Around.
Yep.
Is that going to be a retirement there? I think Serra's escaped. Yes, he has. Interesting to see what happened there. I think the way he pulled over and just stopped, he might have had the double downshift. The double downshift.
I was just thinking, the double downshift, the way he just pulled off and went straight. Yep. I don't gonna say there certainly wasn't enough of a connection to cause anything there, I don't think, but that's put him off. Back down the field, Veltons now under pressure by Luis Felipe Capmaggian, who's had a great race so far from 15th place, I believe, on the main race. And I think he was down in like 20th or 21st in the sprint race as well, that has worked his way up to 15th in the main race, and now we can see he's up to 11th and chasing on that 10th position. So we talked about it, the HM Engineering driver. We know he's certainly got it in him. I believe he was in the promotion relegations as well. So we know he's a great driver, but just obviously didn't have a great qualifying here, but certainly has been putting some work in the main race.
Well, he started season 2 down in Split 2, and he got promoted sort of nearer to the end. There's quite a lot of skid marks at Acquaminaralo there. Something's been for a bit of a spin. But Ian Belton's, he's had a phenomenal performance today.
So Martin Dillon not only got past Matt Richards and whatever else, he's also now chasing down Christian Michel. or Mikel, as I believe has been pronounced. Let's have a look at the replay. This is from David Serra. Okay, so we're going to see whether it's a double downshift here or what caused him to have the DNF.
Second first.
Yep. Boom. Sorry, gone, blown. Oh, it's a shame because it was looking like a great maneuver as well. He just put a great overtaking. But sometimes it happens, and you know, we've seen it happen in the top series. Hello, Diogo Silva. He's gone down to 6th place now, falling off. So Matt Richards up into 5th again. Durland up into 4th. Okay, so all over the shop at the moment. Shinsik's going to go past as well. So he will go through, it looks like. Should be around the outside. Yes, he will make it stick. So Master Shinzik through, and now you can see Ramo Milano as well behind him. He's also making a look at this one. So Diogo Silva, that's gone all kinds of wrong on him.
Yeah, Matt Richards getting his elbows out. Managed to get through, and he's going to start trying to track down Dearland again. But I think that Audi might be starting to burn through his tyres because Milano's now sniffing. Diogo Silva might be losing about 3 positions in one lap at this rate, as Martin Dearland now right at the back end of Christian Mikel. He's almost able to read the partner on that rear wing.
Yeah, from 3rd down to 7th. I don't know what's happened from Diogo Silva, but that's definitely something happened there. It looked like he was still running okay, so he was just losing position. So whether he'd had an unforced error, Martin Dearland sees an error right there. Christian Mikel making a big howler, and that's opened the door wide as you like for the big Bentley to come squeezing on through. Certainly we'll have the inside line here, and we'll just make it stick. Beautiful as you like. Up to 3rd place. Martin Dearland making that Bentley work.
So now what happens with Mikel and Richards? Will Richards be able to sniff out another position here? This is on board Marcel Shinchik.
So that's Diogo Silva ahead in the orange.
Yeah, coming up towards Tamburello. So Richards got a little bit of a clip on that sausage curb on the inside. The car wibbled a bit. And then take to the grass, but I'm having that.
Yeah, quick reactions. Dive across, cut on the round side. I'm still wondering what caused him to go from... I'm sure he was in 3rd. He was running in 3rd, Diogo Silva, so what's forced him even further ahead than that made him come down? But clearly he's still running fine. You can see he's in 7th place. He doesn't seem to have any issues per se, so it must have just been an off of some variety of his own making, because as far as I could tell, he was quite a gap from Shepherd, and Christian Mikel was further behind him as well. So I feel like it was an unforced error in there. I would love to try and see it. Speaking of drivers making waves, though, Capmagin still trying to work it at the moment. You can see Cito Vaya and Daniel Kishier trying to put some work onto Henry Cynic once again. The Cynic Express, as it's been coined, as he's leading this train of cars at the moment. Which we have seen a little bit of action in already, certainly cars. The double downshift, unfortunately, for Sarah. But there is the big BMW, the big Bentley. There's no BMWs. That's a shame. What happened to the BMWs? Where did they go? Unfortunately, not able to run at the moment, it seems.
Yeah, I was expecting a couple to be in this, but it seems that the McLaren, Audi, Bentley is there's more ski jumps through Variante Alta here. They're sort of been running quite close together for the majority of the race. But points all the way down, points all the way down to whoever finishes, really. So we've had a few retirements, so those who finish last on track will end up with more points overall. So all good. Cito Vaya chasing down Daniel Kish. I don't think the slipstream is going to be powerful enough from that distance.
Yeah, Martin Dearland, 15 minutes to try and make up, what, a 6-second gap on Shepherd. I don't think that's really happening. Yuri Toman's had a cracking start. You know, it's always sucks, really, for the leader when they're doing so well and they're so far ahead, because you just never get to see them. They don't get any screen time because there's no overtakes going on. But what is a potential overtake here?
Yeah, dropping down the field. He's now in 10th.
Wait, that's got to be a spin. That's got to be an off. Christian Mikel from 4th position down to 10th. So we'll have a look exactly what happened to the Audi driver there. But that, of course, moves Shinchik, Richard, Silva, Ramo Milan, and Martono and Veltons all up a place.
I did see some skid marks at Villeneuve, so I think that might be where he's gone off. But you know, if those tyres weren't cooked before, they definitely are now. So here's the replay.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so Matt Richards.
Was it contact?
Matt Richards alongside him. That's going to be in the inside. It's a full contact from Matt Richards. I mean, Matt Richards, like, would he have had to back out of that? I don't know. Could he have backed out of that? Oh, Richards got caught by Chinchik as well. So Chinchik also catching Matt Richards there, which is why we're seeing Chinchik up to upper place into 4th. And Matt Richards under pressure now from Diogo Silva once again. Rama Milana up behind him as well. So, yeah, make of that what you will.
That one will probably get looked at afterwards if drivers submit incident reports. So Matt Richards might end up with a penalty for the next round, but we'll have to wait and see for that one as Rama Milana goes up the inside. That's contact.
Oh, it's contact. That's further down. Diogo Silva's gone. He's off. That's definitely
wall, though.
Managing to hang it on, but yeah, Rama Milana catching hold of him. That's going to put Diogo Silva down to 11th place as we see Felipe Capamagian going through up into 10th place now. So certainly getting lively with just 12 minutes to go. 13 minutes actually. I'll take that as a Murrayism.
It's all a tribute, honest. Oh dear, this is starting to get intense as we now see a replay of that.
I mean, this is just a straight in the side. Yeah, it just.
Yeah. Again, that might be one for Jimmy to look at afterwards.
He's got a lot to look at. He's got a lot to look at, I think, throughout this one. He's going to have a busy night ahead of him, or a day tomorrow maybe. I'm not too sure when he'll get a chance. But we were talking about Martin Drulin, obviously with that, what's happened between Christian Mikel and Diogo Silva. Whatever's happened there, it's actually give Martin Drulin nice clean air. So he's off and running. He's actually gained about a second or two on Shepherd, but I don't think it's quite going to be enough with only 12 minutes to go in the race. Matt Richards, as you say, 5th place, did lose a position to Chinchik. So Chinchik's doing a great race here, honestly. 3rd place in the sprint race, 4th place currently. The man from Vargas Sim Racing is doing a fantastic job. Also got himself a no, he got first, didn't he? He was first in the BMW series.
Someone going for a Spinala at the exit of the second Ravazza there. I just saw a car gracefully spin out in the background. Couldn't see who that was. It might have been Paul August Lana. Ruben will have to queue up another replay. He's going to need a new R key by the end of this evening. But we say that nearly every time we do one of these. We've lost Serra, Stepkowski, Milan, and Fernandez from this race. As we see Diogo Silva with a 1.5 second gap to Capamagian in front of him.
Well, Capamagian looks like he's putting pressure onto Mikel as well. Mikel, yeah. We still don't know whether Christian actually collected any damage or anything like that when he obviously went off. Whatever happened to him, because he's obviously slid down from 3rd to 9th place now. Definitely had an issue, an off somewhere. Speaking of offs, Diogo going a little wide there, but will carry the curbs nicely. And you can see Capamagian continuing his charge. Looking at maybe drivers of the day, he's certainly up there for me. This is obviously in terms of what he's managed to do, but I think Chinchik's certainly one of those as well I'm going to be looking at, but maybe he's gained positions. Martin Drulin certainly having a great race here and gained a lot of ground. Okay, here we go. Let's have a little look at this replay. So this is it was Prodan further down, and it looks like I'm going to say there's nobody near him. So gets out of the way quick.
Yeah.
Yep. It's that scary moment when you spin and there's just cars coming straight towards you, like, what do we do? What do we do? Left or right, and you just hope that the driver coming at you also makes the same read.
There we go. Silva at the back of Henry Sinek. The Sancho car seems to have got some overspeed, but maybe not enough. Goes to the outside. Just thought about it. No, not quite enough to carry the momentum around the outside there, but that's going to bring everybody else into play at this minute.
Yeah, Mrocek is back down there, 16th position for him. So after his off in the sprint race with Yuri Toman, obviously managed to make up some serious ground here. Back up to 16th place. A great drive from him here to not only gain some momentum and keep his concentration and just make himself as best points he can. Looking at Capamagian as well in the top corner of your screen there from his point of view. as he chases down onto Christian Michel. How do you get Michel from M-I-C-H-E-L? I don't get that one.
I think that's just the way it's always been pronounced, and I've just rolled with it all this time. But Cedar Via stuck behind Henry Sinek. I think Sinek's going to start dropping down a few positions in a bit. Neat. There we go. Just get a decent enough exit out the chicane, but if those tyres have started to really drop off, then he's going to have nothing coming out of the final rFactor corner onto the start-finish straight. It should be easy pickings for Via here.
Yeah, looking like he's certainly been working him. When we were talking about the Audi rear wheels, well, we are now 36 minutes into this race, and we'll see whether the Audi's got much left in it. Henry Sinek been defensive for certainly a large part of this, and Cedar Via, who only qualified in 21st place after a pretty torrid qualification session. That's a small love tap from behind just to remind Henry that he is here, and that McLaren really would like to get past, if you don't mind. He's going to try a little peek on the outside. Certainly won't be able to make it stick here, but he's going to look for maybe the undercut and see whether he can swing it through. Gets a good drive, and that's a wide swing from Henry. Certainly going to give him a chance to look around the outside. Don't think he's going to be able to make it work around there. Meanwhile, look at that. Kish up behind him, trying to take full advantage of Cedar Via going wide.
Sinek still being very, very defensive.
He's got this one, surely. Oh, is he going to stick it in too much? We've seen so much contact here, and this time it will be a slight drive. Is he going to let him back in, Cedar Via? I think he had that quite clearly. Kish also coming through. Oh, Kish has got sent wailing off to the left-hand side there, and he is done for. Rear wing gone. I think that's a DNF straight away. I don't think there's much he can come back from that one. Philip Dries now down in 18th position as well. Looks like Dries is trying to make some ground. Oh, there's some serious contact down here. The Bentley's gone wide. The Audi's going wide. What is happening? Tokarev losing places, and unfortunately doesn't look like gaining too much from that one.
Tokarev having a sniff at when he develops Audi in front of him. Oh, bit of a drift. We'll see here what happened with... okay. Right, so this is... Yeah.
Is he just going to get walloped off, or is it just like locked up? Or oh yeah, he just walloped. Perfect connection. I think that was the weight of the car just getting thumped straight against him as he returned to track, unfortunately. So Tokarev trying to catch back on that Audi. Let's have another look from another point of view. This is Rocek. So we're going to see, obviously, Kish on the front left here. He's going to get sent wheeling off to the left there. Yeah, I honestly don't think he saw him. I honestly don't even think he saw him there.
Oh, Rocek almost followed him in sympathy.
Oh, if you're going off, I'll go too. Okay. Rocek, though, what a great drive. He's back up to 15th now. So, obviously, was sent wailing off in the sprint race from 10th position. And he's managed to work his way back up to 15th. Now, obviously, by hook or by crook, because there has been a few incidents collected throughout. But 5 minutes to go in this race. The GT Challenge Season 3 powered by traction. And maybe it is powered by traction. We're getting some traction, certainly, from some of these cars. But obviously, the sponsor for Season 3 here, as we're seeing... Well, quite a bit of contact throughout the race on Imola. We did have a relatively clean GT Pro season last week. Here we get to see just how the challengers can face off. And of course, don't forget, the bottom 5 after 2 races, we'll be looking at that relegation section. So it really is quite a battle for position and points, even throughout the field, not just about the top 1 to 5. You're looking all the way down the field, everybody's trying to fight for position.
Yeah, so the top 5, obviously, in return, will come up from Division 2. And I'm assuming what we'll be doing is what we did at the end of the second race last time around, where we'll show like the final 5 minutes, so you'll be able to see who's coming up and who might be going back down. But for the moment, we'll stick with the Division 1 split of GT Challenge here, as Rocek's looking for 14 from Henry Sinek.
And Bentley is putting some work in here. He's all over him. Got the inside drive as well. You've got to feel he's going to get past him any moment now. Very much looking for that gap. Sees the gap. Is he going to send it for the gap? No, he doesn't. Not this time around. Doesn't send that Audi spilling off into the gravel, which we've seen happen throughout so far. Talking about gaps and times, by the way, just under 4 minutes to go here. Martin Dillon now, he's gained so much ground that he's only 2 seconds behind Shepard. That was a 9-10 second gap at one point, so he's really gained a lot of ground there. Speaking again, ground, look at that big burst Esports Bentley charging down on Henry Sinnick.
Sinnick's going to want as many positions back. Sorry, not Sinnick. Rocek's going to want as many positions back as he possibly can get. He'd think he should be starting near the front for this race. Unfortunately got wiped out on the final lap of the sprint race. Sinnick holding up Rocek and others, so it's going to be quite a lot of defensive driving for the next 2 laps or so.
Yeah, got himself a bit of a gap there though, so it's obviously not going to be under too much pressure coming into Tamburello, which is where we've seen a couple of moves just before, but should be certainly fine. So clearly a small error from Rocek coming into that. Rocek himself under a bit of pressure as well, so he's going to be careful to stay up behind him, along with Tokarev further back there, with Philip Dries just a pure observer further down the field. Looking at the top 10, looking pretty happy at the moment. Most positions look to be settled with just 2 minutes to go here. Rocek's certainly the one that's trying to put the pressure on as we get some beautiful cinematics coming out from Ruben.
That's why these broadcasts always look so good. Ruben Carrera-Alves, the broadcast director, knowing the ins and outs of the rFactor 2 camera system, as Sinnick looked like a bit of a drift through Aqua Minerale, but Devon Rocek still stuck in behind as they come towards the Variante Alta. Cut so much on that inside, it almost looks like you're going to get a cut track warning for that, but it can take quite a lot. It just seems that Audi got the better exit this time around, because Rocek is just not close enough for a run to the Ravazza, so maybe another run towards Tamburello if he can get a decent exit out of the second Ravazza corner. Yeah,
and that's the second time, right? We've seen him coming out Variante Alta and getting that better drive, and that's again put Rocek on the back foot as we go down the start-finish straight into Tamburello, again off the pace. So does look like this position may well stay the same unless Rocek really can send it for something here. Certainly these are the only two that are close enough. I can see that Campamagian has gained a lot of ground on Mikel as well, so maybe a one-spot maneuver maybe for 9th and 10th. We'll keep our eye on that one as Rocek continues in the Bentley to hound the Audi. But what a great drive overall. Yuri Toman led from the start. Is he going to send it? Oh, well, you got to make the gap your own sometimes, and it worked out for Rocek. Gets up into 14th place. Now, Henry Sinnick's got to be on the defensive here because he's also getting picked off further down the field, and this is going to be the full send maneuver as we see them.
Nice.
Full slide. I'd love to see that. Oh, hello. Did he give the position back, I wonder, Rocek?
Yeah.
I think he may have. I think he realised it was a bit too much of a bullish manoeuvre, using that Bentley for its full weight and power. But here we go. Yuri Toman over the line. I think we're going to get another lap. We got another lap. We have. Goes over the line with 10 seconds remaining, and Tokarev getting a little excited there on the back of Jake Lestout, seeing whether he can get past, but looks like he's got a little squirrely. So losing that rear slowly.
He's only got to hold on for another lap. So here's a replay. Assuming this will be of Henry Sinnick getting absolutely... Yep. I mean, that Bentley has got a lot of weight behind it, but
no doubt,
still way too aggressive. But
yeah, he just pulls over.
Yeah, that's respectful for Sinnick there.
Yeah, nice for Rocek to do that. It's good to see. As we say, love to see some clean racing. I mean, it's not been that clean today, but it's been relatively okay. But it's good to see that Bentley once again back on board. So final lap of the race. Great lead from Yuri Toman to take himself looking like a first place for him. Don't think there's going to be unless an unforced error. Rocek certainly wants to make the move though now. Looking once again at the inside. Oh, hard on the brakes, so realizing it's not going to work out for him. Tries to keep on the back bumper just with a couple of corners to go here. Henry Sinnick hanging on to the position. You can see Yuri Toman coming up to the line as well. So he's about to finish and pick up the first win in the GT Challenge powered by Traction Season 3. Of course, that could be under stipulation. We don't know. Of course, we'll keep our eye on that. Obviously, we could see some sort of penalties applied later on after what happened in the sprint race. But for the Varga Sim Racing driver, Yuri Toman, he will go over the line and pick up the first win of the season in the GT Challenge Season 3 here at Imola. Fantastic to see. Shepard in second place. Martin Dillon in a brilliant third place, by the way. Martin Dillon really making that one work. Sinchik over the line in fourth with Matt Richards right on his bumper in fifth place. Rama Malana up in sixth place. Martono, the winner of the sprint race, in seventh position. Veltins in eighth. Mikel in ninth. And Felipe Magian, Luis Felipe Campamagian, what a great race from him, up into 10th position, gaining them spots of Diogo Silva in the end. Don't really know what happened to him, Diogo, in that race. Further down the field, the Bentley will neck and neck as they go over the line, but it will be Jake the Stout will finish in 16th position. He will take that. Cito Vaya, by the way, worked his way up to 13th position. Another great race from him. And Rocek in the end will be down in 15th. Lana, 21st. Oh, they just go over the line. It will be a 21st position for him. And he will manage to hang on to that as they catch the end. Well, a little bit of carnage to finish over this finishing line. But and unfortunately, it does look like the Porsche did not have a great race down the end there. No. We did see him getting collected, I think it was near the start of the race, if I'm not mistaken. And here's the confirmation of the results after 28 laps of Imola. Yuri Toman first. Chris Shepard second, Martin Dillon from John Lacey Esports in third, Macho Sinchik in fourth. A great result, first and fourth for the Varga Sim Racing boys. The Zancho of Matt Richards in fifth. Indika Ramolano gets himself a second in the sprint and a sixth in the main race. Presley Martono in seventh for JMX Phantom. He gets himself a first in the sprint race and a seventh overall. Veltons unfortunately couldn't hold on in that Scuderia, and he's in eighth position. Christian Mikel in ninth. And Luis Filippo Capamagian, what a great race, great ground made up for him from the HM Engineering driver, finishing in 10th overall in the main race.
Yep, Diogo Silva outside of the top 10 in this on this occasion, but Roman Kubic in 12th place of Black Hawk Racing. Celo Vai with that great drive from near the back up to 13th. Hopefully he'll be able to find some more confidence in the car for the next round at Spa. Henry Sinnick in 14th, Darian Rocek in 15th. Gave that place back to Henry Sinnick, so top respect to that. Jake the Stout in 16th for Nita Velix, and then Vlad Tokarev for Unison in 17th. Philip Drace clawed his way back up from last to 18th. Andrea Terzi for Waveframe Esports 19th, but a driver of his ability should have been a bit higher, you would have thought. Dafa and Ardianza for JMX Phantom in 20th in the Bentley.
Yeah, I would love to find out what happened to Drace. Obviously finished out in, 11th place in the sprint race, so don't quite know why he started from 30th. Maybe it was a disconnect in there, but either way, he started from the back of the grid. So I think he'd be happy that he's managed to work up that much. Quite a few DNFs in there, as you can see. Daniel Kish got biffed off. David Serra, double downshift, unfortunately for him. Stepovsky, we saw him going flying off. Borbs and Milan didn't actually catch that one, and Fernandez also sweeping off the circuit. Nico Barkley, I don't think he's going to be happy with that result, that's for sure. 24th position for him. And of course, you can see the two Volante drivers having a bit of a neck and neck challenge with each other towards the end there. So, great race overall, Aidan. I think it's safe to say we certainly had a lot of action in the Ravazza. That's where most of the overtaking, most of the biffs were happening. I think it's safe to say we saw quite a few of them.
Yeah, it's a track where it's a little bit narrower compared to other FIA Grade 1 tracks, so there's some of like bit of door banging and things like that is to be expected at a place like this. But at Spa, we're going to be seeing a slipstream fest, hopefully, up the Kemmel Straight, up the run towards Blanchimont and the chicane. A lot of heavy braking moves. I can't wait for Spa. It's always a good track to go to, especially GT3s. GT3 and Spa, like I said at the top of the show, it's a combination that's just loved for whatever reason, and hopefully we'll get some absolutely thrilling racing in 2 weeks. But next week, obviously, GT Pro will be there.
Absolutely. GT Pro, BMW, obviously the support race will be there as well. GT Challenge will be returning in 2 weeks' time, as you can see, the GT Challenge Season 3. And of course, we'll also have the potential relegations after that race is done. But Spa will be the next location, as you mentioned, a race that's had not only some fantastic races, but plenty of endurance races as well. It's a track that's endured over the time. It's actually, I think it's only about an hour and a half drive from where I am. Like, I'm in a great position in Cologne because I have the Nürburgring that's obviously like an hour away, and I think Spa is only about an hour and a half, maybe. I'd have to double check that. Maybe it's a bit further than that. But yeah, I you know what? Before lockdown kicked in, I was due to go there, and then obviously lockdown all happened, so it just never happened. It's a big disappointment all around, but it's just one of those things, I guess. Luckily, I've been to Silverstone, Nürburgring a bunch of times. Never been to Sebring or Indianapolis. Indianapolis is one of those ones I've always fancied maybe going to at one point in my life, but it's going to have to coincide with maybe some sort of esports event while I'm in the US.
The like a virtual Indy 500 or something like that. But yeah, Spa next up. Hopefully everybody will be there for that one, watching on Traction YouTube channel, Studio 397 Twitch. And obviously, like we say, GT Pro and BMWs to come. So I think BMWs at Spa is going to be great.
Yeah, we had some great racing, certainly. Obviously, we did have a bit of contact with Yajovski and Schmidl before, but Cinchik, who obviously performed very well here in the GT Challenge, certainly was a fantastic winner in the first race on Imola. So we're expecting, obviously, a lot of people to be in there. I think the qualification's already probably been and gone. That obviously, you guys, if you're unawares of how the BMW Sim M2 CS Racing Cup works, there is a qualification period, which is actually, yes, it's just been and gone, the 11th to the 13th of March. So unfortunately, you can't get involved in that for Spa. But the 25th to 27th of March for Silverstone, you guys, if you're interested in trying to get involved and race with some of these pros, then that's when the qualification will be happening. Keep your eyes open on the Studio 397 forums, exactly when and where that should be. It's all there in the official competition contest forum. So fantastic race. And Aidan, overall, what did you think? You were talking about Matt Richards being the old man that was going to win the championship. How do you feel? I mean, what did you get? Fourth, fifth? That was pretty good in the end.
I never said he was going to win. I said,
oh, come on!
I
put
would
you
expect
out
him
there
to be in the top 5 come the end of the season. But you know, it's too early to call, I think, especially when we don't know how the cars are going to be at each track. So yeah, I just can't wait for Spa.
Oh, fantastic racing overall. Thank you very much for watching us, ladies and gentlemen. Do be sure to tune in, obviously, for the GT Challenge Season 3, powered by Traction on March 29th. But don't forget, next Monday, starting at 7:50, I believe it is overall. No, tell a lie, 7:20 p.m. And now, when does the clocks change? There's some time around now, aren't they? I'm not even going to go down that road. Tune in for the BMW Challenge season, of course, and of course the GT Pro. That'll be happening next week on Spa Frankenchaps with Aidan, Rene, and Lewis, of course. You guys will be bringing it home. We'll see you then. Until then, have a good night.